Longline fishing, or longlining, is a commercial fishing technique that uses a long main line with baited hooks attached at intervals via short branch lines called snoods or gangions. The snood is attached to the main line using a clip or swivel, and has a hook at the other end. Longlines are classified primarily by where they are placed in the water column. This can be on the surface or bottom. The line can be set using an anchor or left to drift. There may be hundreds, or even thousands, of baited hooks hanging from a single line. This can lead to many deaths of various marine organisms. See bycatch. Longline fishing vessels equipped for longlining, typically target swordfish, tuna, halibut, sablefish, and many other fish. In some precarious fisheries, such as Patagonian rockfish, fishermen may be limited to 25 hooks per line. In contrast, commercial longline vessels utilizing certain robust accommodations in the Bering Sea and North Pacific Ocean typically operate more than 2,500 baited hooks on a single series of connected lines that can be many miles long. Longlines can be drilled near the surface, pelagic longlines, to catch fish such as tuna and billfish, or set along the ocean bottom, demersal longlines, to catch bottom fish such as halibut and cod. Longline fisheries for black cod, also known as black cod, may use relatively simple equipment to set traps on the ocean floor at depths of more than 1,100 meters, 3,600 feet. Longlines rigged with traps rather than hooks can be used for deep-sea crab fishing. Longline fisheries are prone to incidentally catching or killing dolphins, seabirds, sea turtles, and sharks, but less so than deep-sea trawl fisheries. In Hawaii, where longlines were introduced by Japanese immigrants in 1917, longline fishing was known as flag fishing because of the use of flags to mark the floats on which the hooks were suspended. The term, flagpole fishing, persisted until local fishing boats began to use modern monofilament mainlines, line setters, and large hydraulically driven reels, after which the term, longline fishing, was adopted. Longline fishing is controversial because of bycatch, which is fish caught in pursuit of another fish or immature juveniles of a target species. This can cause many problems, including the killing of many other marine animals in pursuit of certain commercial fish. Seabirds can be a particular danger during the setting of the lines. Methods to reduce accidental mortality have been successful in some hospitals. Mitigation measures include using weights to sink fishing lines quickly, deploying streamer lines to scare off birds, setting fishing lines only on dark nights, so as not to attract birds, limiting fishing seasons to the southern winter, when most seabirds congregate, not feeding young fish, and not disemboweling when setting lines. The Hawaii-based billfish longline fishery was closed in 2000 due to concerns about excessive bycatch of sea turtles, particularly loggerheads and leatherbacks. Changes in management regulations allowed the fishery to reopen in 2004. Gear modifications, particularly a change to larger circle hooks and mackerel-shaped bait, have eliminated most of the sea turtle bycatch associated with this fishery. One consequence of the closure has been stated to be that 70 Hawaii-based vessels have been replaced by 1,500 to 1,700 longline vessels from Asian countries, although this is not based on reliable data. Citation needed, because catch records by these vessels are poor and often non-existent. The number of sea turtles and albatrosses caught by these vessels between 2000 and 2004 will never be known. Citation needed. The Hawaiian swordfish longline fishery was closed again on March 17, 2006, after reaching the bycatch limit of 17 loggerhead turtles. In 2010, the loggerhead turtle bycatch limit was increased, but was restored to the previous limit as a result of a lawsuit. Hawaii-based tuna and swordfish longline sanctuaries are governed under a slightly different set of rules. According to the United Nations Code of Responsible Fisheries, citation needed, the tuna fishery is one of the best managed fisheries in the world, but has been criticized by others for being responsible for the continued bycatch of false killer whales. The area is home to a number of species of fish, seabirds, and other non-target wildlife, as well as putting pressure on declining big-eye tuna stocks. For centuries, line fishing for demersal fishes was carried on in coastal waters and far at sea in the dory fishery famous today. A sailing mothership carried the dories from Portugal, France, Canada, and the United States to the Grand Banks for cod. The one-man dory operated near them. Auto longline fishing is a type of bottom longlining, where gear is set horizontally along the ocean floor and held in place using anchors. The primary difference between auto longline and demersal longline fishing is that hooks are baited by a machine rather than by hand. When set, the long line can be many kilometers in length, incorporating up to 15,000 hooks. Automatic long lines are used to catch finfish that live on or near the seafloor, primarily along Australia's continental shelf break in 200 to 800 meters of water. Auto longline gear typically consists of a rope mainline with hooks spaced every 1.3 meters on 40 centimeters monofilament or braided cord lines, snoods. The mainline is attached at both ends to downlines which have a large buoy on the surface for locating gear, and anchors at the bottom to hold the gear in place. Each line is normally left to soak for around 6 to 8 hours before being hauled. Hauling is done using hydraulic winches which are fixed to the deck of the boat. The gear can be hauled from either end by retrieving the downline. Auto longline fishing causes very little damage to the seafloor. Gear can become snagged on the bottom and get broken off. Although as gear loss is costly to fishing operations, all attempts are made to avoid losing gear. Auto longline fishers can catch deep-water shark species such as Harrison's and southern dogfish, although AFMA manage the impacts of fishing on deep-water shark species under the upper slope dogfish management strategy through a network of area closures. In recent years, AFMA in conjunction with the Department of Environment and the fishing industry have worked hard to reduce seabird interactions with auto longline gear. Seabird bycatch is managed through strict conditions on fishing permits which are supported by the Threat Abatement Plan for the incidental catch, or bycatch, of seabirds during oceanic longline fishing operations. Commercial longline fishing is also a major threat to albatrosses, and is a particularly serious threat to their survival. Of the 22 albatross species on the IUCN Red List, 15 are threatened with extinction. The IUCN lists 2 species as endangered, Tristan and waved albatrosses, and 7 as critically endangered. In the evening, I was greeted by a group of young people, many of whom were surprised by the rain, but it was still raining and I was surprised at how little rain there was. In the evening, I was greeted by a group of young people, but it was still raining and I was surprised at how little rain there was. Even so, there were things that could be done by the mother who was in the middle of the night. There were things that could be done by the mother who was in the middle of the night, such as the one pond. The first 25 years of the Hainawa family were born in the 19th century and were known as the Big Brothers. The first 25 years of the Hainawa family. Even though the children and elders were young and had little to no education, they were able to set up their own school, Soka Hainawa. The Hainawa schools, which are run by the same people as Kuradara, are now in the early stages of development, with more than 1,100 meters, 3,600 feet, of school buses and buses being built. Even though the children were young and had little to no education, they were able to set up their own school. Hainawa schools, Baruka, Umadori, Umagane, and other schools were also in the early stages of development. The rain was gradually falling off the roof of the building, and the new roof was destroyed. In 1917, Japanese soldiers in Hainawa and Hainan were killed, and the roof was destroyed, with fire and other fireworks shining down on them. 8. The rain was gradually falling off the roof of the building, and the new roof was destroyed in the evening. The bell rang and the bell rang in the evening, and the bell rang in the evening. The bell rang in the evening.
Throwing the squid on the bait. There's the baited hooks.
This species is known for its long bill that grows from the front of its head. Blue marlin use this bill to stun their prey by slashing their heads in a side-to-side motion, knocking potential prey unconscious, and making it easier to catch. The blue marlin's bill differs from the swordfish's and the sailfish's by being round and pointed, rather than flat and blunt. Like many open ocean bony fishes, blue marlin start out as extremely tiny larvae, no more than a few millimeters long and weighing only a few hundredths of a gram. Soon after hatching, they already have a visible bill. Blue marlin grow rapidly, and in the course of their lives they may increase their body weight by at least 1 million times. Because blue marlin undergo such an amazing transformation in size, from being nearly microscopic to being one of the largest open ocean predators, they eat a wide variety of prey throughout their lifetimes. At a young age, they eat tiny zooplankton, and their prey increases in size as they do. As adults, they eat fairly large bony fishes and squids. Similarly, blue marlin are eaten by a wide variety of predators. When they are newly hatched, they are eaten by other fishes that specialize on eating plankton. The size of their predators increases as they grow, and adult blue marlin are not eaten by anything other than large open ocean shark species. The blue marlin is a highly migratory species, with individuals migrating across entire ocean basins and even between oceans. One individual, for example, was tagged off the east coast of the United States, Western Atlantic Ocean, and recaptured in the Indian Ocean. Like many migratory species, the females are larger than males. In fact, adult female blue marlin are as much as 4 times the size of the largest males. All of the largest individuals are female. Blue marlin reproduce through external, rather than internal, fertilization, where the female releases her eggs into the water column while the male releases his sperm. Once the sperm find the eggs, fertilization occurs. While spawning, a single female may release several million eggs, increasing the likelihood that some will be fertilized and that at least one hatched larva will grow to reach adulthood. Though almost all fishes are cold-blooded, blue marlin and the other billfishes have a specialized blood vessel structure, called a countercurrent exchanger, that allows them to warm their brains and eyes. This adaptation provides them with a major advantage when hunting, by allowing them to think more quickly and see more clearly. The blue marlin is a targeted fishery species in only a limited number of areas but is captured as accidental bycatch in fisheries targeting other species throughout its range. In some areas, this accidental capture is threatening blue marlin populations, and scientists consider the species vulnerable to extinction. Generally speaking, blue marlin populations are decreasing in numbers. Though it is not targeted commercially throughout much of its range, the blue marlin is one of the most highly sought-after big game fishes in the world. Sport fishing enthusiasts spend tens of thousands of dollars to catch large blue marlin, and they are typically released alive, though recent data suggests that released individuals may frequently die after the fact. If numbers continue to decline, this highly valuable sport fishery may be in danger of collapse. Marlin fishing is one of the most exciting challenges facing any angler. Marlin are fast, they're athletic, and they can be darn huge. The striped marlin is the second fastest fish in the world, swimming at up to 50 miles per hour. The speed of black and blue marlins also leaves most other fish trailing in their wake. Once hooked, all species of marlin display an acrobatic ability worthy of a ballerina, or perhaps it would be more accurate to compare them to a bullfighter. They dance, skip, and leap through the air on the end of your line, giving the angler the fight of their life. It's little wonder that fishing for marlin has almost legendary status amongst anglers the world over. We at Fishing Booker, just like all serious anglers, dream about catching a grander, one of those legendary fish that weighs over 1,000 pounds. The record for the biggest marlin of all time goes to the enormous 1,805 pounds Choi's monster. This beast of a fish was caught on a charter fishing boat out of Oahu, Hawaii, in 1970 and still stands today as the biggest marlin caught on rod and reel. Like sailfish and swordfish, marlins are part of the billfish family. These highly predatory species use their spear-like bill to slash at and stun their prey. A migratory species, they are usually found in tropical or subtropical waters and change their location according to the warmth of the water. There are 4 marlin varieties: blue, black, white, and striped. Despite their names, they all display a fairly similar color scheme and characteristics, meaning that the untrained eye could mistake, say, a blue marlin for a striped marlin, or a black marlin for a blue one. Let's meet this ferocious fish family and learn a little more about each one. The blue marlin tends to dive deeper and tire quicker than other marlin. However, it is a powerful and aggressive fighter that can run hard and long, leaping high in the air in amazing displays of acrobatics. Females can weigh up to 4 times the amount of males, which rarely exceed 300 pounds. Some experts consider blue marlin living in the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans to be 2 distinct species, although this point of view is contended. It does seem to be the case that marlin in the Pacific Ocean tend to be larger than those in the Atlantic, though. How to recognize blue marlin? A diagram showing how to recognize a blue marlin, with writing describing the fish's pointed dorsal fin, cobalt blue back, foldable pectoral fins, and cylindrical body. The precise information is listed in bullet points below. The telltale signs of a blue marlin are as follows. Black marlin usually reside in the tropical Indian and Pacific Oceans. They swim in near shore waters and around reefs and islands, but also roam the open sea. Very occasionally they come to temperate waters, sometimes traveling around the Cape of Good Hope into the Atlantic. Black marlin tend to be bigger than the blue marlin caught on rod and reel, although it's debatable whether or not this is simply due to the fact that they inhabit more accessible waters. The largest ones are usually caught off the coast of Australia, Panama, and Mozambique. While males can occasionally grow to over 15 feet long and weigh as much as 1,600 pounds, most of the time they are smaller than females. People sometimes refer to black marlin as the bull of the sea, due to their extreme strength, large size, and incredible endurance once hooked. All this obviously makes them a very popular game fish. They can sometimes have a silvery haze covering their body, meaning they occasionally get labeled a silver marlin. An illustration explaining how to recognize black marlin. Information is written about the short dorsal fin, less elongated body, rigid pectoral fins, and dark blue and silver coloring. This information is summarized in bullet points beneath the picture. These are the top ways to know you've hooked a black marlin. When you're deciding where to book your marlin fishing trip, it's important to think about the season you'll be going in and the precise marlin species you want to go after. Fishing charters specifically targeting marlin are particularly common in Mexico, Hawaii, and Panama, among many others. A good way of working out the marlin fishing season of an area is by considering the local water temperature at that time of year. Both blue and black marlin love warm water. In some destinations, marlin fishing trips run all year round. Blue marlin fishing hotspots throughout the year. An animation of blue marlin fishing hotspots throughout the year. Areas are labeled in red, orange, or yellow, depending on how good the fishing is. Red is best, orange is medium, and yellow is worse. Red equals blue marlin high season. Some of the best marlin fishing in the world takes place in the warm Pacific waters around Hawaii. There are probably more blue marlin caught here by rod and reel than anywhere else in the world, and some of the biggest blues ever recorded were caught fishing from this island, Choi's Monster, again. The western town of Kona is famous worldwide for its marlin fishing, due not only to the frequency of grandas. Over 60 fish over 1,000 pounds have been recorded in Hawaii's waters, but also because of the skill and experience of its top captains. Marlin fishing in Kona tends to be based from the Honokahau Harbor. If you're in the area around the beginning of August, make sure you don't miss the Hawaiian International Billfish Tournament for the hottest marlin fishing action. From late March through July, charter boats operating out of Cozumel and Cancun encounter masses of blue and white marlin, as well as other billfish such as sailfish that follow the warm waters of the Gulf Stream into the area. Blue marlin here tend to be smaller than those in the Central Pacific, maxing out at 500 pounds. However, the smaller fish, the more athletic they are, so you'll still be in for an exciting fight. To the west, Cabo San Lucas is famous all over the world for its epic marlin fishing, partly thanks to the prestigious Bisbee's Black and Blue Tournament. This is one of the most famous and high-stakes fishing events in the world. Safe to say, Cabo's the perfect place for it. Heading south from Cabo, the biggest black marlin here are most likely found around offshore structures such as Corbatana Rock and El Banco, near Puerto Vallarta. Some monsters have also been landed around the Revillagigedos Islands. Visit in September and October to be in with a chance of experiencing the thrill of feeling a marlin jump at the end of your line. The first black marlin ever caught on rod and reel was landed by a Sydney-based Dr. Fishing from Port Stephens, New South Wales, in 1913. Nowadays, the east coast of Australia is a mecca for marlin fishing, with blue and black marlin frequently caught on fishing charters in this area. While fishing for marlin is often successful from Cairns, Sydney, and Port Stephens, marlin fishing on the Gold Coast around Main Beach is the most productive in terms of numbers. The Great Barrier Reef is the only confirmed breeding ground for black marlin, making Eastern Australia one of the most popular black marlin fishing destinations in the world. Cairns boasts of being the world capital of marlin fishing, and anglers flock to the area from September to December to try their hand at catching the fish of a lifetime. It doesn't stop there though. The black marlin then moves south towards Port Stephens, where the season stretches out through March. Port Stephens is famous for being the site of the Southern Hemisphere's largest billfish tournament, the Port Stephens Interclub, which takes place in early March. A mere 1,200 miles offshore to the east of Australia lies a magical marlin hotspot, Vanuatu, a chain of 80 idyllic islands in the South Pacific. This paradise offers blue marlin fishing all year round, although it's best May through November. Black marlin are around in the same period, and striped marlin are best August through November. Did you know that a marlin can be eaten? Perhaps you've seen marlin on a menu before. Globally, marlin is considered to be an extremely healthy and delicious fish. There are quite a few kinds of large game fish, including marlin. Among its features are a longer body, fins, a tail, a head and a nose. It belongs to the family Istiophoridae. Generally, predatory marlins inhabit warm and subtropical waters of the Indian, Pacific Ocean, and Atlantic Ocean, and inhabit depths of 915 meters, 3,002 feet. Crustaceans, squid, and smaller fish are their main foods. In terms of size, a marlin can reach a maximum length of 4.65 meters and reach a weight of 750 kilograms. Anglers and streakers love this fish. In many countries, marlin is one of the most popular frozen fish on the market and a well-known seafood import. Many people say it's sweet and tastes great. If it's cooked properly, marlin makes an excellent meal. With its high protein and good fats, it is the ideal food for those who are always on the move. When buying marlin, make sure you buy it fresh. If you add butter or oil to it, it becomes even more delicious because of its fat content. Marlins come in several types: blue marlins, black marlins, striped marlins, and white marlins. As well as being rich in vitamins and magnesium, marlin is also low in sodium and contains lean protein. Additionally, marlin contains selenium, niacin, and vitamin B6. A serving of fresh marlin contains approximately 200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids. The most common marlin species are blue and white marlin. Blue marlins are usually bigger with more firm flesh, whereas white marlins are more petite and have a more delicate texture. Despite the fact that both types of fish can be eaten raw, it is generally suggested that blue marlin should be cooked before eating. It is usually best to consume white marlin raw since it rarely contains parasites. The highest quality sushi grade flesh is a must when you eat marlin raw. A good idea if you are uncertain about the quality of the fish is to cook it before eating it. Marlin can be enjoyed in many different ways, so discover which one suits you best. Nowadays, marlin steaks are more readily available. As well as sliced fillets of sashimi grade, marlin can also be smoked. You can prepare marlin for cooking in a variety of ways, including cooking it on a grill, baking it, smoking it, or frying it. The marlin is an excellent choice for ceviche, sushi, and other Japanese dishes that call for richly flavored fish. It is often compared to tuna fish in terms of its odor and taste because it is similar, but with a slightly different taste. Some describe the taste as similar to tuna, but more intense. However, most agree that marlin is a healthy food choice. There is a slight sweetness to the meat of marlin fish, but it has a flavor that is quite distinct. Marlin's taste is mild but still unique. Some people say marlin has the flavor of swordfish mixed with tuna. A richer flavor, reminiscent of shark, has been described by others. There are those, however, who believe it tastes lighter, somewhat like halibut. Marlins come in different varieties, just as tunas do. Tuna and marlin taste different based on the species of fish. You should try marlin for yourself to find out whether it tastes similar to tuna or not. Like tuna, marlin is likely to appeal to tuna lovers. At the end of the day, it's all about what you like. There is a difference between swordfish and marlin. Regardless, they both grow to a maximum height of 3 meters. Fish such as marlin have a strong taste like tuna does, as opposed to swordfish, which has a low fat level, hence being less dense than marlin when prepared as steak or sushi grade fillet. A swordfish fillet has dark flesh with white stripes, while marlin meat is lighter in color with distinct stripes of red. The flavor of swordfish is less gamey than that of marlin, which makes it more tricky to cook. The best way to cook marlin steaks is medium rare, but swordfish steaks need to be cooked longer to destroy pathogens. When it comes to fattier fish, swordfish is one of your most delicious options. Go with marlin if you're okay with a more robust fish flavor. Consuming marlin fish can be beneficial to your family's health. It has a lot of essential fatty acids and is a very nutritious fish. Marlin has a lot of protein and is healthy for the brain and heart. Furthermore, marlin provides thiamine, B6, and niacin, which are all essential vitamins. Here are some tips and cooking instructions for preparing marlin loins and steaks. Marlin is a versatile fish that can be cooked in a variety of ways, and it makes an excellent seafood choice for those looking for a healthy meal. You can prepare marlin in the following ways. Grilling marlin is a great way to prepare this fish. Grill the fish for approximately 4 minutes on each side after seasoning it with lemon juice, salt, and pepper. Cooking marlin by baking is another excellent option. For about 15 minutes, bake the fish at 400 degrees Fahrenheit with seasonings you like. The best way to cook marlin is to sauté it. Add spices, salt, and a squeeze of lemon to the fish, and sauté for 2 to 3 minutes per side in a medium hot pan. The firm flesh holds together well in soups, curries and casseroles and can be cubed for kebabs. There is no wrong way to prepare marlin, as it is a healthy and tasty seafood option that is a surefire hit. Combines well with ingredients like anchovies, capsicums, chilies, citrus fruits, ginger, garlic, chives, olives, sesame oil, olive oil, tomatoes, vinegar, wasabi, and soy sauce. Red wines pair best with flavorful fish such as marlin. Light reds pair well with this kind of fish, even though most people steer clear of red wines when it comes to seafood. The combination of rose and grilled fish is great as well. You will enjoy drinking a rose with grilled marlin fish. Rose can also be substituted with white wine with a rich flavor. In this marlin recipe, marlin steaks are sautéed in garlic butter sauce with basil and tomatoes. The fish tastes great when it is accompanied by feta cheese and olives. There's no better way to enjoy marlin than this savory and sweet recipe. This marinade can be used on a wide variety of white fish, including braai fish. On the Mexican Pacific coast, marlin tacos are very popular, especially in Baja. This dish, like many Mexican dishes, can be customized to your liking. Fish tacos are based on smoked marlin, which is the staple of the dish. Fish like mahi-mahi have meaty flesh that resembles that of marlin. This alternative is more sustainable and can be used in several ways, including cooking on the grill, barbecuing, and simmering soups or curries. Marlin flesh is rosier and redder than swordfish flesh and has a stronger flavor. If you are grilling or barbecuing, mackerel is a tasty alternative. When charred on a barbecue, the oily flesh of the meat absorbs flavor well. A variety of spices, herbs, roasted veggies, and olives are all common additions to the dish. There is no doubt that the marlin's oily, firm flesh is some of the tastiest of all fish. A great option for grilled meals because it holds up well to heat. However, overcooking can make it dry. For these cooking methods, yellowtail kingfish is an appropriate alternative. Grill it medium rare only to ensure optimum moisture retention. Occasionally, fresh marlin will be served raw, but yellowtail kingfish can also be used in place of the marlin.